Welcome to Nagesh Karasgi Orchid School. I am Savita teacher and I am teaching grade 4 science. Dear student, from last 2 episodes we are learning lesson number 7. Look at the board. From last 2 episodes we are learning lesson number 7, adaptations in plants. Today also we are going to continue the lesson number 7, adaptation in plants. In this lesson, we are learning about why different plants and animals live in different places or environment, the different types of plants and how plants are adapted to the environment. These all types we are learning. The next third point is how plants are adapted to the environment in which they grow. This we are learning from last 2 episodes. In previous episodes, in last 2 episodes, we learnt about terrestrial plants. Do you remember what is meant by terrestrial plants? Yes, I want answer from you students. Yes, terrestrial plants means the plants that grow on lands. Yes, and depending on the condition in which they grow, there are 4 types of terrestrial plants which we have learnt already in last 2 episodes. I am just recalling here. There are 4 types of terrestrial plants. Why these 4 types are there? Because of the condition, depending on the condition in which they grow. So first type we have seen about the plants in desert. Now I want example of the plants that grow in desert, the plants in desert. Yes students, try to give answer. This is very interesting lesson. You are also listening very carefully. Yes, cactus and mesquite bush, which is also called as kicker or bubble, are the example of desert. And how they are adapting in desert place, we know the leaves are changed into sharp spines and roots are also adapting according to the condition. Some roots spread just below the surface of the soil and some root grow down more than 20 meters also. And some amazing parts of desert plants also we have seen. Some of the plants, means mostly cactus, the cacti, they going dormant, means they live asleep. They are asleep when there is dry, and when there is rainfall they again make or produce flowers and fruits. And we learn about barrel cactus also. Now after that we have learnt about the plants in hills. In hills, how the condition is? Condition is very cold, and in some region, in some areas snowfall is also there. So the plants that grow in hills, they have to survive in cold and snow. So what are the examples we have learned? Yes students, yes, try to give answer. Yes, you are correct. Pine, spruce, cedar and fir are the example of the plants that grow in hills, and these are called conifers. Why they called conifers? Because instead of flowers they have cones, and these conifers are evergreen. Why these are called evergreen trees? Because they do not shed their all leaves at the same time, so they look green throughout the year, so they are called evergreen trees. And some trees which grow in hills like oak, maple, they shed their leaves in winter season to protect themselves from cold. So those are called deciduous plants, and new leaves grow in spring. So we have seen that. So you know that evergreen plants and deciduous plants. But the plants that grow in hills, the deciduous plants shed their leaves in winter season. After that we have learnt about the plants that grow in the plains. Actually most of you are familiar with the trees that grow in plains. Like the example of the trees that grow in plains are mango tree, tamarind, coconut, tea, coffee and all. Yes, and here also there are two types of plants. Those are evergreen plants and deciduous plants. So but here is one difference from the as compared to hills. The deciduous plants in plains, they shed their leaves in summer season. Why it is so? To avoid water loss in summer season. Okay, and after that we have learnt about the plants that grow in marshy places. What is the example? What was the example we have learned? Yes, mangrove plant. As in marshy places, the land is or the soil is always covered with water. There is no air, means their roots will not get air, so they grow above the soil. So those are called breathing roots. This all we learnt about this. This was just quick recall of what we have learned in previous episodes. Okay, now we will move to the next new interesting part. Aquatic plants. You know that aquatic animals which live in water. Now we will see aquatic plants. Plants that grow in water are called aquatic plants. I will show you some pictures of aquatic plants. Here you can see. Now there are also different types of aquatic plants. How in terrestrial plant? 4 types were there. We have learnt about 4 types of terrestrial plant. Here in aquatic plants 3 types of aquatic plants are there. Those are floating plants, fixed plants and underwater plants. These underwater plants are also called as submerged plants. See students, today we are going to learn about aquatic plants. There are 3 types of aquatic plants: floating plants, fixed plants and underwater plants. Now first we will see what are the floating plants. See, some plants means some aquatic plants like duckweed, water lettuce and water hyacinth float freely on the top of the water. Some aquatic plants like duckweed, water lettuce and water hyacinth float freely on the top of water. You can see here they are on the top of the water. So now we will see how they are adapted. Why they can float, we will see. The bodies of these plants are like sponge and have empty spaces filled with air. Whatever body parts are there, means whatever the parts of these plants are, they are like a sponge and they have empty spaces filled with air. So whenever air is there, you know that it makes the particular thing or body light. So it is helpful for those to float on the water. We will see how it helps. As now I am explaining you that the bodies or the parts of the floating plants are like sponge and they have empty spaces filled with air. So this makes the plants light. Yes, this makes the plants light enough to float. So whatever the sponge like body parts are there of this, it's actually parts of these plants are like sponge and there are empty spaces filled with air that makes the plant light enough to float. They can float freely on the water. What are the examples I said? This is duckweed, water lettuce and water hyacinth. Now we will move to next plant. Next aquatic plant is fixed plants. Plants like water lily and lotus. Plants like water lily and lotus are fixed plants. I will show you pictures. Nice lotus you can see now. Nice water lily you can see on the board. See, plants like water lily and lotus are fixed plants. Now we will see why these aquatic plants are called fixed plants. Let us see. Do you want to know? Yes, see, here is the answer for that. These plants have root that fix the plants to the bottom of the ponds and lakes, in which whether it is growing in pond or lake, these plants have roots that fix the plants at the bottom of the water body, that is ponds or lakes. So you can see here in the picture the root that fix the plants, water lily or lotus. This root fix the lotus or water lily at the bottom of the ponds or lakes. So that's why they are called fixed plants. We are learning about aquatic plants and this is second type, fixed plants. In fixed plants, why they are fixed? Because these plants have roots that fix the plants to the bottom of the ponds and lakes. That's why they are called fixed plants. Now we will see how they are adapted in this condition. The fixed aquatic plants have plate-like leaves that float on the surface of water. I will show you some pictures of fixed aquatic plants. See here, you can see here, water lily are there, lotus is there. You can see the leaf are thin and they are floating on the water, and these are looking like plate. So the fixed aquatic plants have plate-like leaves that float on the surface of the water. Now how it helps we will see. See, one more amazing part we are going to see. The stomata in the leaves are on the upper side. It is surprising to you, as in grade 3 in science lesson you have learnt that there are tiny openings on the back side or lower side of the leaf which are called stomata. Yes, do you remember? Even in our one of the lesson that plants make food, we have learnt that leaves have tiny openings at the lower side or back side of the leaf, and those are called stomata. And how the stomata, what is the use of stomata? Stomata can take in carbon dioxide. Now we are seeing here, means I said that the stomata in the leaves in the fixed plants, the fixed plants, whatever aquatic plants are there, the stomata are in the stomata in the leaves are on the upper side. Why? Because you will also understand, as the lower side or the back side or the underside of the leaf is facing towards the water. So stomata is on the upper side of leaf, so it helps to take in carbon dioxide. See how the plants are changing in their behavior or in their body parts, and that is only called adaptation. Yes. Now we will move to next part. The stems are hollow and light. This helps the leaves to float. You can see here hollow stem of fixed aquatic plants. See here two pictures, two different stems are there. They are hollow and light. So why it is like this? So this helps, means this light stem or the hollow stem help the leaves to float on the water surface. Now we will see again what changes are there. The stems are also flexible. In fixed aquatic plants, the stems are also flexible and they bend with the flow of water and make sure that the leaves are always above the water. I will show you pictures here. See, I will show you one picture. The stems are flexible. These are stems of fixed aquatic plants. The stems are flexible and these can, because of flexibility, they can bend with the flow of water and it makes sure that the leaves are always above the water. Whenever the water level of that water body rises or falls, because of flexibility of this stem, leaves are always on the surface of the water. Nice, amazing, interesting things we are learning about plants in this lesson. Now we will move to next part, underwater plants. We are learning third type of aquatic plants, that is underwater plants. These underwater plants are also called as submerged plants. Now see, plants such as hydrilla and tape grass live completely under water. I will show you some pictures. See, here is hydrilla and tape grass. These hydrilla means plants like hydrilla and tape grass, they live completely under the water. Yes, now we will see how they are adapted in this condition. Okay. They are called, means the plant which grow under the water, they are called submerged or underwater plants. Already I have told you the plants which grow, means here are the example hydrilla and tape grass which grow completely under the water, and these are called submerged or underwater plants. They have narrow thin leaves and with no stomata. See students, one more interesting or surprising thing you are listening. As before we have seen that fixed plants, the stomata are at the upper side of the leaves. Generally you know that stomata are present at lower side of the or back side of the leaves. In fixed plant it is upper side of the leaves, but in underwater plants there are no stomata and the leaves are also narrow and thin. See how amazing or surprising thing we are learning, and this is interesting also. So the underwater plants have narrow thin leaves with no stomata. Now how they can take in the air or whatever carbon dioxide is needed, let us see. Because see, plants are adapting or changing their behavior or they are changing in their body parts to adjust with the surrounding. So the underwater plants, they have no stomata to adjust with the surrounding as they are completely growing under the water. Now we will see how they can survive here or how they are taking carbon dioxide. See, the plants breathe through their body surface. See, plants that live or that grow in different places, they change their behavior, they change in their body parts to adjust with the surrounding. So we have learned in plants in desert how leaves are changed into spine and the stem is doing the function or stem is doing the function of leaf, that making food and all. So here the leaves are not having any stomata, so the plants breathe through their body surface. So what they will absorb, we will see. The plants absorb the carbon dioxide given out by aquatic animals. Now see, in previous lesson the plants, how plants makes food, we learned that plants and animals depend on each other. Plants absorb carbon dioxide given out by animals and animals take in oxygen given out by plants. So here also the plants absorb carbon dioxide given out by aquatic animals. Now we will see what are the till there more adaptations are there, how it is adapting. The stems are flexible and have air spaces. See here also in how the fixed aquatic plants are having flexible stems. Even underwater plants or submerged plants have stems that are flexible and have air spaces. Okay. Now in this way we learnt about aquatic plants. What are the aquatic plants? Aquatic plants are those which grow in the water bodies. There are three types of aquatic plants. Which are those? Yes, I want answer from everybody. Dear student, you have to try to give answer. The first type of aquatic plants we have seen that floating plants. Yes, and next what is the example of floating plants? Yes, duckweed. Correct. Now after that we have learnt about fixed plants. What is the example of fixed aquatic plant? Yes, lotus. Correct. And third one just now we have learnt about was underwater or submerged plants, and example is hydrilla. Now we will look back again. We will do one exercise. Everybody all student they have to open their Canopy textbook. Science part you have to open in that, and you have to open page number 53. Yes, everybody open, take pencil along with you. You have to solve this exercise with pencil. Now see, give an example for the following. Here are some types are given. We have to give example of that. A plant that float freely on the top of water. What is that? Yes, give me answer. Everybody should try to give answer. Yes, here is the answer. Yes students, yes, duckweed. Now we will solve next question. Everybody wrote? You have to try to give answer. Now second question is a plant whose roots are fixed to the bottom of a pond. What is the example of this? A plant whose roots are fixed to the bottom of a pond. Yes students, correct. Lotus. Now we will move to the one more question is there. A plant with no stomata. Yes, just now we have learned about this. Yes, hydrilla. Correct. Yes students, all interesting parts we are learning in last 3 episodes. Means from last 2 episodes we learned so many amazing things or surprising thing about plants, and here also in today's episode also so many surprising things you are knowing about plants. Now we will move to our next part. Dear student, as you know that plants are basic food producer in the nature. Herbivorous animals that eat plants, and carnivorous animals that eat other animals, and omnivores that eat this one plants also and animal also. So anyhow, herbivorous, carnivorous or omnivorous, directly or indirectly they depend on plants for food. You have know about this, and we have learnt about this in our previous lessons. Now here one interesting and surprising thing I am going to tell you, that there are some plants which eat insect. Is it surprising? Yes. I think all surprised that by listening that some plants eat insects. See, these plants are called insectivorous plants. The plants that eat insects are called insectivorous plants. Okay, means we know that the animals that eat herb or plant are called herbivorous animals. The animals that eat plants are called herbivorous animals. But here I am telling you the plant that eat insects are called insectivorous plants. The Venus flytrap and pitcher plant are insectivorous plants. See here, this is Venus flytrap and this is pitcher plant. These are example of insectivorous plants as they eat insects. These are called insectivorous plants. Dear student, you are all surprising about by listening this, and some of you know why these are insectivorous and all. Now, some of you are thinking, why do plants eat insect? As we know that plants are basic food producer. Yes, but here we are seeing the example of insectivorous plants. Then some of you are thinking that why do plants eat insects? Let us see. Actually, this is one type of adaptation only. Let us see why plants eat insects. Dear student, as you know that plants need water, air and sunlight to make food. Yes, we have learnt about this in grade 3 science also and in our previous lesson how plants make food. And in introduction part of this lesson in the first episode I told you that plants also need the right type of soil to grow in. Yes, plants also need the right type of soil to grow in. As you know, plants need water, air and sunlight, but plants also need soil that is also of right type. Plants also need the right type of soil to grow in. Why it is needed? Because plants get minerals which are required by plants. The plants get minerals from the soil. Okay. Now see here the explanation why plants eat insect. Some plants grow in soil that is poor in minerals. As we know that plants need right type of soil to grow in as they take minerals from the soil, but some plants grow in soil that is poor in minerals. So to get the minerals they trap and eat insects. Now you got the answer why do plants eat insect. And some plants grow in soil which is poor in minerals. So to get the minerals they trap and eat insects. Now we will see how they will trap and how they will eat or digest the insect. So here is the Venus flytrap has leaves that are folded in half. I will show you picture. So the Venus flytrap has leaves that are folded in half, and when an insect sits on the leaf, the two halves of the leaves get closed. See here, whenever an insect sits on the leaf, the two halves of the leaves get closed. See, they get closed whenever the insect is there, and the trapped insect is then digested by the plant. Now we will see how the pitcher plant behaves. See, the pitcher plant has leaves that look like container or pitcher with lids. Here is the picture, it is the leaf. Actually you can see something here, but it is the leaf. It is looking like container or pitcher, and you can see lid also there, and there is liquid inside this container or pitcher. You can see here liquid is there inside that pitcher, and whenever insect that fall into the pitcher are trapped and digested by the pitcher plant. Yes, see here the picture. Because of that liquid they cannot come out, so insect that fall into the pitcher are trapped and digested. Now one activity actually I want to show you, but because of time limit I did this activity, but till I didn't get the proper result, so I can't show you that. But here I will show you some pictures. What we have to do, we have to sprinkle a little water on a loaf of bread and keep aside it for few days. We have to take, actually there is no need to do this activity. Whenever we sprinkle a little water on a loaf of bread and keep aside it for few days, after few days, means you can see, observe something growing on it, on the loaf of the bread. See, you can see here, when we sprinkle water on the loaf of bread, after few days you can observe something growing on the loaf of bread. If by using magnifying glass, if we try to see what it is, we can see something is growing like this. This part is like something greenish or black and fibrous like part is there, and now we will see what it is. Okay, actually this is fungi. The thing that grow on the loaf of bread is called mold. You can see the picture. Mold is a living thing that does not have chlorophyll and cannot make its own food. How plants can make food? In that lesson we have learned that the plants, non-green living thing, cannot make their own food because they don't have chlorophyll in it. So same here, mold is a living thing that does not have chlorophyll and cannot make its own food. So it depends on the matter on which it grows. Now see, it gets its food from the substance on which it grows. Here it is getting from the bread. Mold obtains its food from the loaf of bread, and mold is example of fungus. Yes, mold is example of fungus, and it obtains its food from the loaf of bread. As there is no chlorophyll in it, so it cannot make its own food. Now one more example I will show you of fungi. Mushrooms are also fungi. Fungi get their food from plant on which they, on plant or animal matter on which they grow. Now see, one interesting part about this fungi I want to tell you. Fungi are neither plants nor animals. They belong to a group of their own, and some kinds of fungi are used to make foods. Actually in lesson number 3, T10 microbes, we have learnt about this. There are some useful fungi. What are those? Yes, anybody remember? Yes, yeast. Yeast is used to make bread. Now see here, when you eat bread or cheese, you eat fungi only, but don't worry student, this is useful one, which we are eating in bread or cheese, that is useful one. Okay. In this way, today we have learnt about adaptation in plants. What we have learnt in this lesson? We have learnt about what is adaptation. Yes, tell me, what is adaptation? Adaptation is the change in behavior in living organism. Means living organism change their behavior and in their body parts, living organism change their behavior and in body parts to adjust with surrounding, that is, the change is called adaptation. Yes, after that we have learnt about terrestrial plants. What are the terrestrial plants? The plants that grow on land, and there are 4 types of terrestrial plants. What are those? Yes, you have to answer. The plants that grow in desert, plants grow in hills, plants grow in plains, and plants grow in marshy places. These all are terrestrial plants as they grow on land. After that we have learnt about aquatic plants. There are 3 types of aquatic plants we have learnt about. What are those? Yes, recall and try, give answer. Yes, there are floating plants and fixed plants, and next was, third was what? Underwater plants or submerged plants. Yes, we have learnt about this, and after that we learnt about something surprising and all. What it was? The plant that eat insect is insectivorous plants. We have learnt about this. Why do plants eat insects? Because they grow in the soil which is poor in minerals, so they trap and eat insect. That's why they are called insectivorous plants. After that we have learnt about fungi. Yes, fungi are neither animal nor plants, they belongs to their own group. Yes dear student, this is all about our lesson number 7, adaptation in plants. Now what you have to do? You have to read the lesson carefully. Again and again if you read, you will get interest, means you will be surprising, and you will be happy also to know about plants and all. So underline the new words and learn those new words, and try to solve the exercise, textbook exercise which is after the lesson is there. You have to try to solve it by your own, and I am going to send you answer keys also, so you can check your answer with my notes. Okay students, thank you.